This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Grounded in Maine podcast is an open conversation about how we show up for the world. I started this podcast out of a desire to learn new ways to be sustainable because the word sustainability is big. It can be overwhelming, and I just wanted to learn, different ways to try to be part of the solution and not feel like it's too late. So I am talking to people who are doing different things and learning so much. I hope that you are too. Hi there, my name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is Jackilyn Ann Arteaga of Ann's Bath and Beauty Boutique in Illinois. Jackilyn makes her own soaps and she sells them, which is really cool. It's become her business. It was just kind of her fun thing or a challenge, and now it's a business, and she is a very busy business. I'm going to have her tell you all about that, but it is very cool to see how people are embracing just homemade, or we used to just have the soaps that you would buy at the grocery store, and so people are buying them elsewhere because they know what's in them, and I think that's very cool. So I'm going to have Jackilyn tell you all about that. We're going to talk about how she got into it and how it's going. And we're going to get right to that. But please, if you love this podcast, please feel free to share it with somebody that you think would enjoy it. If you feel free to rate and review. It helps to get in front of new listeners to have ratings and reviews. And if you really don't like the podcast, please let me know. You could message me anywhere. If you have something that you would love to share on the podcast, also please let me know. You can send me a message. I'm happy to chat with anybody. So I really appreciate you listening today. I hope you enjoy this episode with Jackilyn.
Today, my guest is Jackilyn Ann Arteaga. She is a soap maker, soap maven, even. She does it a lot. Jackilyn, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Thank you so much for joining me. I love the idea of making soap, so this is really exciting to me. But you do more than soap. We were just talking about that, and so you have a new item that you're offering right now for the the beloved bug season.
Yep. Our bug off lotion sticks. It actually just got made yesterday, so hopefully within the next week before this comes out, it'll be priced out and on our Etsy page.
Woo! Yay! But so I'm curious how you got into making soap. That's not something that's I don't know. Do people just say I'm gonna make soap? I'm gonna try, because you have to like plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
So for me, it was all my mom. I'm a set person. So like if I have the pumpkin lotion, I need the body spray, the scrub, the soap, all of it. And if one thing runs out, I can't just like not buy the matching stuff. So if it's a seasonal item, you gotta like buy the whole new soap, scrub, spray. And my mom looked at me and she's like, do you know how much you're spending on this stuff? I'm like, a lot of money, I'm aware. And she told me, you can make this yourself. And I was like, no, I can't. Can I? No, I can't. And she kind of just started making soap and I started helping her and it kind of just snowballed from there. And now we do soaps. We do 2 soaps, regular cold process, goat's milk. We do shampoo bars, sugar scrubs, salt scrubs, and whatever else we do.
Whatever else we feel like at the moment.
If it's a bath product and then it can be made, I'm gonna make it.
That's very cool. And so do you do lotions as well? Did you say lotions?
So only in the wintertime because it is an oil-based lotion, so I'm worried about shipping it. So we offer those in the wintertime at craft shows. And then if people message me and say, hey, I bought your lotion bar at a show, I really liked it, I'd like to order some more, then I'll ship it to them that way.
Gotcha. So, oh my goodness, I forgot to even say, so your business name is Ann's Bath and Beauty Boutique. Yep. And you are on Etsy.
Yep.
Okay. We'll say that again at the end as well, but I just want to make sure that I got it. So, so soap, there is a lot to that. I've heard it's not really hard, but there is a lot. You have to have like separate everything for anything that you're making soap with. So an extra pot, an extra mixer, blah, blah, blah. Right now,
I have 4 crock pots that don't leave my basement. Because I make videos on Snapchat, Instagram, all social media. I'll make videos and I'll get comments all the time. You can't reuse those crock pots. I'm like, those don't leave my basement. Those are my soap making dishes. The measuring cups that we use, the spoons we use for mixing, none of that leaves the basement just because I don't want to poison people.
Yeah, you don't want to mix those up for sure. And so that alone is quite a bit of planning. Yes. But so you just want to make sure that you're prepared. And so the trickiest thing about soap making is the lye, right?
Yes.
Because lye can burn. Yes. Yeah. And not to scare people, but you want to be prepared and not be like, I'm just going to mix all these things up.
Well, as long as you have your protective gear, we have a special coat. We use protective glasses and special gloves that, like, in case, because sometimes when I've done it too, and I've been like, why did this happen? Where it's bubbled over, and I'm like, why is this happening? But as long as you wear your protective gear, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So you have had the bubble overs.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just happens once in a while. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, why?
I talked to somebody who said that she had that happen, and she added, I think she was making a honey soap and she added the honey too soon. And it just like was a mess.
Yeah, I've had it happen like maybe I've been doing it for about 5 to 7 years. COVID was weird. And so I maybe have had that happen like 2 to 3 times, which I think those are pretty good ratios.
That's a pretty good, yeah, those are good odds. 2 or 3 times in 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you had your protective gear, so you were fine.
Yeah, I was just like, I just looked at it. I was like, we're going to let you cool down and then we're going to scoop you up later.
I'm going to come back to you. Next crock pot.
I know,
Oh,
I
wow.
have 2 plugs and I was just like, ooh, I could do double the soap now.
Yee. Wow. And do you have all of this stuff on your Etsy page?
Yes, I do. Like I said, the only thing I really don't have on my Etsy page is the lotion bars, but that's because of melting issues. I don't want to deal with customer complaints if it happens. But everything we have over altogether between the 3 soaps we have over 50 different scents.
That is wild.
And
Wait,
like now,
3
yes,
kinds of soap? You have cold process and goat milk?
and shampoo bars.
Shampoo bars, right. Okay.
Those are the new thing.
Yes, I'm a big
Because
fan.
a lot of people are actually going from the bottled shampoo because of the plastic to shampoo bars.
That's me. I've been doing it for like 7 years or so.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, and it's just like I've noticed in the last 1 to 2 years, it's been more and more popular where I'm like, oh, I gotta make like a lot more because this is becoming the new thing.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. And so with soap, like is it, I should ask, is it very sustainable for, to make your own as opposed to, I mean, your mom was saying you can make your own and save money.
Yeah, because definitely like it started with the sugar scrubs in her mind because it was just oil, sugar, and a fragrance. And she's
Right.
like, you can literally like, do you know how cheap this is? And costing it out, yes, it is.
Yeah. And then doing so, I mean, I'm sure it's hard for you to even, I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but because you're making it in mass amounts.
Mhm. Well, like right now, summer. So we're actually planning for our fall right now
Right.
because it takes 4 weeks for the soap to cure because of the lye.
Right. Right. So you would say that it is a sustainable product, like it's more economical to make your own than it is to buy. I mean, I buy the like homemade soaps that they even have them at one of our grocery stores and they're like $5 a bar. Like okay. It doesn't have chemicals, so I'm down with that, but it just seems really expensive.
No, yeah, I definitely think it's because we've always said that like if for some odd reason the business stopped, we're still gonna make soap for ourselves. But I even looked at them and was like, the business stops. We have like in stock right now. I want to say I have over 350 bars in stock currently, and that doesn't even include all the scrap pieces I have that I can't sell. So I'm like, if we ever go out, I think we're good for a while.
I don't know, you might get a big rush.
I know, right?
What do you do with the scraps?
So sometimes like if a shelter reaches out to me looking for soaps, I'll give it to them. If someone wants a sample before they buy it, I'll give it to them. I have a few friends that I'll like give it to them when I go over to their house or whatever. So it just depends. Like, we have micro pantries in the area. I'll put some in there sometimes.
Nice.
So whatever
That's
I can
cool.
do to help.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's not being wasted. That's for sure.
No.
That's awesome.
And
I didn't
also
even think
we use
about
them.
scraps. But because you use the big mold and then you slice it, so you probably have little bits that
Well,
hang
yeah,
out.
none of our bars are less than 4 ounces. So if a bar is less than 4 ounces, it gets thrown with the scraps.
Oh. And now that's not something that you can, I'm thinking of probably glycerin soaps that you can just like melt out and yeah, you can't do
That's
that.
a melt and pour base, which sometimes I don't know a lot about melt and pour bases because when I was researching it, I was not into it because like a lot of the ingredients in the soap base was words I cannot pronounce. I'm like, no.
Right, sure. That's a really interesting point. I mean, that would be super easy to do. However, you don't know what it is. And I that's the only one that I think that when you buy the gift soaps that are the glycerin based, you can just like squish them together.
Yeah. And also they are, I know people who do beautiful work with that. I'm like, man, I wish like cold process soap could do that because it's just so pretty.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it probably looks like sea glass. That's how I think of it. It's sort of sea glass because they'll do the pretty colors and shapes. It's all washing you. It's just a matter of what you're putting on your body.
Yep.
So what is your most popular soap?
So it depends on the time of year because, like, obviously autumn, everyone wants their pumpkin. Specifically, our pumpkin pie is the best seller. Christmas time, it's always like the piney or the cranberries. Springtime, it's your floral scents. Summertime, it's your strawberry daiquiri, Riesling berry slush. But year-round, our top sellers are honey oatmeal, and that's for people like who have eczema and all that, or dry skin issues. A lot of people buy that. Eucalyptus spearmint is a very popular one, and the charcoal soap's also very popular, but that's also like for acne issues, so those issues are year-round.
What goes with the spearmint? Did you say eucalyptus and spearmint?
Yeah, so the eucalyptus spearmint is that scent, and then it also has eucalyptus leaves in it for a light exfoliation experience.
Oh, fancy. Fancy. Ooh, I love mint. That's really fun. And so I never thought about seasonal. I guess I'm not that kind of person. I just have this, I like things the same. But that's interesting to think that people literally get into that.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely like myself. I know I'm a pumpkin girl. My family's like, "Oh God, fall is here," and I'm like, "Can I buy pumpkin bleach?" And they're like, "No, we cannot have pumpkin bleach." I'm like, "Oh, but pumpkin bleach."
Oh my gosh, that would smell so bad.
I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to buy it.
So you have a pumpkin pie soap. Do you said that's your specifically pumpkin pie soap. So do you have a different pumpkin scent?
So we have like regular pumpkin, we have pumpkin pie, and then we have white amber pumpkin.
White amber pumpkin. Interesting. And so you said the honey oatmeal is one of the most popular, and then depending on the season, whatever else. That's really interesting. And honey oatmeal, I mean, I think it's probably pretty standard as well. Like, I mean, does oatmeal give the exfoliation a little bit?
Yes, it does. And then also there's honey in it. So like if you have an eczema issue, the honey's going to help that. My dad uses it because he's a batch maker. So he's always working with chemicals. And in the summertime, he feels just like, ugh, is the best way I could describe it. And he'll be like, "Got any of that honey oatmeal soap for me this summer?" I was like, "I'm making double batch." Actually, today I just made a double batch because I'm like, okay, it's summertime. We got to stay on top of this because summertime is one of the more prominent seasons for that soap because of the heat, because of people like my dad who's like, "I need this like off of me. I need moisture back in my skin. I need those vitamins from the honey into my skin."
Right. Yeah, it's got to be really soothing. And then, also with like bug bites, like it's got to make it feel a little bit better. But what did you say that your dad does?
He's a batch maker, so he works with chemicals. We all just work with chemicals, I guess.
It runs in the family. Excuse me, goodness. That's really interesting. And all right, and so you do shampoo bars as well. Is that a newer thing that you've been offering, or have you been doing that all along?
Within the last couple years, because I had some people that go to college and they're like, "I'm so sick and tired of all these bottles." I was like, "Well, I know people make conditioner bars. I'm not there yet. I don't know if Ange will ever be there, but I know they're out there." But I told these people, I was like, "Well, what if I could offer you 2 bars and then you have your conditioner bottle?" And they're like, "Well, how would you do that?" And I told them, I was like, "Well, we can do a shampoo bar, a soap bar, and then you just have your regular conditioner."
Do you use shampoo bars yourself or no?
I can't.
Yeah.
My hair, I have really sensitive hair that dries it out. Because I tested it and I almost thought we couldn't sell it. Because my hair just was like so frizzy, so dead. And then my fiance uses it. My mom has used it and my dad has used it, and it was all fine for them. I have people who tell me all the time, I love your shampoo bars. I'm like, okay, so it's just me. So what I always do suggest for people who are using shampoo bars for the first time is to do a patch test to make sure there's no issues.
Gotcha. That's really interesting. And then I almost bought a conditioner bar. People, you know, since I've been using shampoo bars, people are like, you know, telling me about all these things, and I look at the ingredients and I'm like, I can't.
I haven't even looked at the ingredients because I told myself, I was like, I don't have the time to even
research and figure that out.
But I know they're out there.
Yeah. But all the conditioner bars that I've seen have lots of weird ingredients that I don't understand. And I know the shampoo bar that I've been using is basically all oils. And then it has the one thing that emulsifies, and then it breaks down or whatever.
Yep.
It's not lye, right? Or is it lye?
Mine have the exact same ingredients as my soap, but just different measurements. So what I also tell people, they're like, well, what if I don't like it? I'm like, technically you can still use it as a soap. If it doesn't work out for your hair, you can just use it as a soap. It's the same exact ingredients. The measurements are just different because it is for your hair, so it can't have as much lye in it.
Right. Oh man, that's so cool though. I mean, it's just change it around a little bit and make it a little bit easier.
I know. I was shocked when I figured out the recipe. I was like, really? It's the same exact stuff, just different measurements.
It's like a different order or whatever. Huh. That's great though. I mean, then you don't have to buy different stuff. I love that. I mean, just, you know, make lots of whatever's good. That's cool. And then what are so you've got your bug off sticks?
Yeah, they're bug off lotion sticks. So actually, one second. They were just made. That's why they're behind the curtain. It's just this. They're not labeled yet because, like I said, they've just been made. But it's just a lotion stick.
That's really big. It looks almost like a deodorant. Like
kind of.
I expected it to be really little, and that's really cool that it's like serious.
Well, so that way, how I figure is you can use it for the summer.
Yep.
Because my thing is it's oil based. So if you're like me and my family who like when we go on a hike, we go on a hike. We go camping and all that. So if it's oil based, you are going to have to reapply it a couple times. If you're out there for 4 or 5 hours and you put it in the beginning, you're going to have to reapply it.
Sure. That's awesome. And it looks really good. That's so nice to be able to just do it like a swash.
Well, and what I like about it too is it has shea butter in it. So it's going to be moisturizing. It's not going to dry out your skin like, let's say, the company Off's bug spray does.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's not going to feel as chemical. Feel healthier. Gosh. But that's super cool and perfect timing. My goodness.
I know because we bought it and I was like, oh God, because of COVID, we weren't doing craft shows. So I didn't even think about it. And my mom asked me about it. I was like, oh God, I forgot about those. So we made them. I was like, okay, it's still May. So we'll have it out just in time for like, I'm hoping that we'll have it out by this weekend. If not, we'll have it out before the 4th of July, which is another time that like people are really outside, going on boats, doing stuff with their family outdoors.
Please get outdoors, people. We got you covered. That's awesome. So what else do you, I know you do other things. Did you say, I know you don't sell it, but you said you make your own cleaners.
Yes, I do make my own cleaners. I actually just the other day posted on my social media page the recipe I use because I don't sell it. So I'm like, if I use it, other people might want to use it. And so I just like did a little quick how-to measurement, filling it up, and then all that video. And the cleaner I make is the cleaner I use for all my stuff. It has tea tree and peppermint essential oil in it, so it's disinfectant.
And I did really like the video that you sent me that you used the laundry
As soon as I
detergent
saw that
bottle.
video, I was like, oh my God, I have to send this to Amy.
Yeah, it's a great use for them, for sure. I mean, if you have one to reuse, that's very cool. And it's very easy for refilling.
It is. And then in our case, it's out of the way because my fiance made me a pallet bar. So he took a pallet he found and he made it into a bar. So there's in between the pallets, there's these little holes, and it fits perfectly in it.
Oh my
Actually,
gosh.
the video I sent you, I think, was the one that we have, and you can see it just fits perfectly.
That's so cool. That's very nice that he's handy like that.
Oh, I'm so thankful. I told him, I was like, well, now that you've done this, can we get an archway in the front yard? So Memorial Day weekend, he's going to let me help him use the power tools and make an archway for my parents.
Nice. Nice. And are they going to plant something to...
So the plan is for my mom wants to plant roses and I want to plant moonflowers.
Nice. Have you had luck with moonflowers before?
This will be my first time.
Yeah. I tried planting them. Maybe it was a balloon flower. I did plant moonflower last year, and I don't think it came up, but my garden is very weedy. I wish you luck with that.
Thank you. I know. My mom's like, do you know anything about moonflowers? I was like, we're about to find out.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try, right? I mean, I'm hoping that mine will come up this year because I think it's a perennial.
I literally just read like the plant package. From what I was reading on the package, it says it is. So, but also with perennials, what I'm learning is like when you plant it the first couple years, they don't, but they'll start doing more as it goes on.
Their roots will get stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll put it out. So I'm hoping for this year. Maybe next year. We'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see. So you make your own cleaner, you make your own soaps. What else? Is there anything else that you do? There must be more.
Oh, yes.
You're very crafty.
I know. I'm always doing something. We do sugar and salt scrubs too. We make those. I try to keep both of the same scents in stock. So if you like having a sugar scrub that matches your salt scrub, you can have it. We also do bath bombs, and then I sew as well.
And you sew. That's right. I remember you're doing like dog bandanas right now.
Dog bandanas and oven mitts.
Cool.
And then there's something on my thousands of lists to do that I was like, oh, I want to try this, but I don't remember what it was.
Don't we all have those lists?
I know. I was told, someone told me, they're like, you need to stop like adding to your list. Because I had someone who actually gave me old liquor bottles they've been saving to cut and sand down to reuse as cups. And he's like, I know how to sand it down. I don't know how to cut it. And I was like, well, I can cut it for you. I got the material. Because what I used to do with my candles, when you brought up candles, I was like, no, not anymore. Because what I used to do with my candles is I worked in a bar. So I would take home old bottles, I would cut them and turn the old bottles into candles. So
just fill them with wax and That's cool because you could get them nice and tall. Because so often they're just like, they're really short and cats can get into them. Specifically the cats. But
they're
that's
just
cool.
so shallow.
Yeah. And then so then they get the big pool in them and they just don't light up anymore. That's a really cool, a very clever idea. Now, Jackilyn, you told me once before, but can you remind me and tell the rest of us that there's a difference between the salt scrubs and the sugar scrubs, other than salt and sugar, but like, what's the purpose? So
the sugar scrubs for your body, and then I found this out, which like I was shocked because I always thought that sugar scrub and salt scrub was like we're just going to get them to buy the same thing, but like different. There's actually a difference. How the salt molecule is, it's safer for your facial skin because it's more exposed to the elements.
Okay. And the salt is like a healing?
I haven't seen anything about healing. It's just that because your facial skin is so fine, it's just how the molecule is, it's not as harsh to your skin.
Okay.
And then obviously, like if you have a tea tree salt scrub and you have acne, that's gonna help it.
Yeah. Oh wow. And then the sugar, do you use because I made some sugar scrubs before I started the podcast. But or before I started the jam business, I think, like before the jam business was really going. But do you use the big sugar? My goodness. The like raw sugar, the turbinado or whatever, or just straight regular sugar?
Yeah, just regular sugar. And then we add the oil, the fragrances, and then like our honey bear one has actual honey in it. So we sometimes add some stuff. Our eucalyptus spearmint has eucalyptus in it. Lavender has lavender.
Oh, that's nice. A little touch, and also just make it smell better. That's very cool. That's so interesting to me. I totally always thought that it was just a matter of preference. Like
I did too. I honestly, because whenever I would go into like Lush or Bath and Body Works, they're like, oh, you want this for your face and this for your body, but they never said why. So I was like, I feel like I'm just being told this, so I buy more. No, there's a reason.
Interesting. So let's see. When I say the word sustainability, Jackilyn, what does that mean to you?
Doing it yourself, DIYing it. Honestly, what I didn't realize is what I do is considered sustainable, because we've talked about that before. I didn't realize everything, because before the podcast, I was researching it because I was like, I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't know what I got myself into, but I'm going to do it. And then I just looked at me and my fiance were researching it, and I looked at him and I was like, that's what I do. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you just call it like self-sufficient.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, there are so many different words and there are so many different ways. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to, I mean, self-sufficient is a great word too. It's just, you know.
Yeah, I just had no idea. I was like, oh, wow, I do this already.
I am ready. That's really cool. So just, basically doing it yourself instead of purchasing someone else's. And I would just add to that, if you are not able to do it, find someone else who's doing it and support them.
Mm-hmm. At a farmer, right now it's summer, so obviously farmer markets are a great place to find people who do stuff, because I know, like, for our farmers markets, we get a lot of cheese people.
That's not so bad.
And I'm just like, okay. And then we get a lot of like vegetables and all that. And then you always have like your candle people, and the farmers markets are always easy. If you want to go to craft shows year round, those are always a good place to find people too. And there's always online like Etsy and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I would, yes. And I would always ask for ingredients. It's just so, it can be so misleading, I think. To say soap, it can be anything.
Well, what I found shocking to me is I found out for bath products, the FDA doesn't require you to list all the ingredients. So whenever people ask me about ingredients, because like at the Monroe County Fairground that I was at last weekend, a couple weekends ago, I had someone who was allergic to shea butter. And I was like, well, that's okay, because all the ingredients are listed on the back. So and I told her, I was like, if it's a severe allergy, we do make it in the same crock pots, because I can't have, as of right now, I can't have a special shea butter crock pot versus something everything else. I just can't do that right now. So I did let her know, and she's like, no, it's just a light allergy. It's not a big deal. But I do let people know, like, hey, shea butter is used, or like if you have a peanut allergy, I keep peanut butter in my house.
Right.
So if you have allergies, I feel like doing that stuff with the one-on-one, face-to-face, being able to talk, make sure, and all that is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and you can do that on Etsy, right?
Yeah,
you can message someone and say, I just need to make sure that there's no shea butter or whatever. And do you mix your oils? Because I've talked to a lot of people that are like, I use a little bit of this and a little bit of this.
So our main base is coconut oil, castor oil, palm oil, and olive oil. And then obviously whatever fragrance oil you're using.
Okay. And what's the purpose of mixing?
It's how it lathers.
Okay. Different ones have a different qualities for lathering and
Yeah.
such. Okay.
Because one of the main questions they actually get by people are, does it lather? Because that's the main thing people look for. So every so often I will make videos of me just using the soaps and lathering it up so people can see, yes, it does lather.
Right. Oh, that's an important point. I mean, if people want that, then there you go. So that's really cool about, I loved that conversation when you were like, I don't know if this really fits. And I said, yeah, totally. Because sustainability is a big word and it can mean so many different things. And that's kind of why I like it so much, because it means something different to everyone. And that's what I'm all about. I want to learn people's stories. Like, how did you get to where you are, and why is it that you're doing what you're doing? And I love that, your mom was like, you don't have to spend all that money. You can do this. She didn't know did she know what she was getting you into?
No.
Did she have plans to make soap?
Mm-mm.
She was offended by how much you spent on body products?
Well, my mom's an accountant.
Oh.
So, like, I always tell people, I'm like, she was chosen for me. I wasn't chosen for her, because they knew, like, she's going to need that accountant. And, like, it started off with me just making it for myself, and then, us making it for ourselves. And then my mom's coworkers wanted to try it. So we just gave them some sample bars to try. And then they wanted to purchase it. And then I don't remember who, but someone suggested doing craft shows. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. And now we're actually hosting our own events this year.
That's huge. That's so huge. So where are you hosting your events?
So we actually in May, we had our first event at Casey's Banquet Hall in Lansing. And then our next event will be at Casey's Banquet Hall again in Lansing on October 8th.
Wow. And you're like running the whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have other vendors, or is it just you?
No. So the last show I had 30 different vendors. This one, hopefully I'll still have 30 different vendors. And then obviously my aunt from Michigan came down to help me. I have my other aunt who was selling her tumblers and helping me. And my mom and my fiance were a big help with that. Nothing would have gotten done without them.
Oh my gosh, team, go team.
I know, I'm like, everyone's just a little Ann's team. Thank you.
That's so cool. That's so cool. It's like a family affair and everyone's working together for the same outcome. I love it.
Well, yeah, because the reason why it's Ann's is it's a family middle name. So my middle name's Ann. My mom's middle name is Ann. So if I have a daughter, her middle name will be Ann. So that's why it's Ann's Bath and Beauty Boutique.
All right. Very cool. So sustainability for you is do it yourself. And I've talked to a lot of people that are like that. And I'm so hesitant to be that person. Like, I want to be that person, but I'm scared to mess up and, have something happen. And so many people are just like, why? Like, well, you have to try.
For me, if you would have told me like 5 years ago, or I guess 10 years ago at this point, you would have told me that this is what I would have been doing and this is my lifestyle, I would have looked at you and been like, yeah, I'm going to the mall, whatever. I don't know. No, thank you. Give me my keys. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, we started our garden, like, I told my mom, I was like, oh, our potatoes are coming up, like, and they're growing big. I was like, do you think we can can those? And then, like, you mentioned jam. The first weekend in June, we're canning our strawberries for strawberry jam and all that. So I'm just like, wow, we really and it started with soap.
Yeah.
And so my suggestion when people ask me, like, well, how do you do this yourself? I suggest people start with one area that they like. Mine happened to be bath products because of my spending habits. Find something you like, start from there. And if you like it enough, it will just snowball.
Right. Yeah, because you start with one thing and then you do it often enough that it becomes really easy and comfortable and you don't have to think about it. And then you can take something else on. I'm doing soap. How about shampoo bars or, scrubs or something like that? Why not? This is no big deal now. And then it totally snowballs. You're like, let's try gardening. Let's can those things.
Mhm.
That's really fun. That's really fun.
Because, and then my thing is too, like, once you start researching something on, like, let's say Google or TikTok or Facebook, you'll start getting other things that are similar to it, but not exactly like it. That's how I found out about the soap dispenser thing that I sent you, because it showed up on TikTok. And I was like, oh my God, this is genius. And it's just little things like that that you see and you're like, oh my, it's something so small that makes a huge impact.
Yeah. And the whole reusing thing is really cool. I love that, like with your wine bottles and stuff like that, like reusing those, finding a new purpose for them to extend their life. And the laundry soap jug thing, those are also really helpful, like, you know, because they're not going in the landfill, they're fulfilling their destiny in, you know, in some
ways
some
than
way.
one.
Right. And it's all, and they're useful. They can be useful if you find a good use for them, because then they're just not making it to the landfill.
Yep.
And it's all good. And I just love that, you know, it doesn't always have to be something huge, like, you know, moving mountains to be part of the solution and be progress. So I appreciate all that you're doing.
Thank you.
So Jackilyn, how can somebody find you? I know that you've got an Etsy shop, and it is Ann's Bath and Beauty Boutique.
So it's actually AN Bath and Beauty Boutique. It's not ANNS. So it's AN Bath and Beauty Boutique. And then on Etsy, once this comes out for the next month, we'll have code Maine for 10 to 15% off all products.
Woo! Yay! And we can also find you on Instagram. I know that.
Yes. Instagram, I have my card. I'm looking down because I have my business card, because I was like, I'm not going to remember everything. So it's Ann Bath and Beauty Boutique. No S, just ANN Bath and Beauty Boutique. And then Facebook, it's Ann's Bath and Beauty Boutique. So ANN apostrophe S Bath and Beauty Boutique. And then if people want to reach me via email, it's annbathandbeauty@gmail.com.
Yay! That's awesome. And all this stuff will be in the show notes as well. But thank you so much for sharing all this stuff. That is it's so helpful to know. It's always helpful to get that encouragement. Like I never would have thought that I would be making soap, but here I am making crap tons of soap on a daily basis. Right. And not just soap, like it just, like you said, it snowballs. And so now you're like the Bath and Beauty Boutique that everyone will come to.
People will see me at a store, like, because I do a lot of local events, and they'll be like, you're the soap girl. I'm like, I am the soap girl.
That's me. That's really cool. People know you now. That's fantastic. But so Jackilyn, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope that and people remember, she said that there's a special deal for the next month. If you use the code Maine on the Etsy shop. Yeah,
I thought about doing it for just a week, but I know how financials can go, so I was like, we'll do it for a month just in case.
Cool. That's very cool. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much.
I just want to take a moment and thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I also need to thank Buzzsprout for hosting this podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her amazing music genius, for Becca Coffron and her beautiful artwork. And I'd like to thank you for listening. Please check out the show notes. I'm going to have links posted in there if you would like to follow this guest and learn more about them. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, get there from here, 'cause here and we'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the ache with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here now I'm so far down, and mercy's bound, yeah, to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder,